Welcome to the Psych Ignition channel. The greatest illusion the Sigma male ever created was convincing the world he was ordinary. They see him, yet they don't truly understand him. He blends into the background like smoke, unseen, but undeniably present. While others seek attention, the Sigma studies in silence. While the crowd shouts, he listens. He operates beyond the noise, obeying laws only he understands. You can't predict him. You can't define him. Just when you think you've figured him out, he'll vanish, reappear, or shift direction entirely. He's not lost. He's just walking a path only the rare few have the courage to take. Psychologists call it nonconformist cognition, the ability to think outside social hierarchies, detached from validation or structure. But the truth runs deeper. The Sigma male doesn't just reject society's rules, he rewrites them. He disappears without warning, replies to messages like time bends around him, and somehow, without trying, draws others into his orbit. People call him unpredictable, even strange. Yet that unpredictability hides a pattern, the quiet rhythm of someone who answers only to himself. So prepare yourself. We're diving into the 12 most misunderstood, mind-bending behaviors of the Sigma male, habits that baffle, confuse, and secretly fascinate everyone around them. By the end of this journey, you'll either want to become one, or finally understand why you never could. Number 1, they speak in half sentences, because their mind finishes the thought before their mouth does. Watch a Sigma male in conversation and you'll notice something strange. He starts a sentence, builds tension, and then, suddenly, silence. No conclusion. No closure. Just a quiet, knowing look. Most assume he lost his train of thought or got distracted. But in truth, he's already finished the sentence, in his head. He's not absent-minded. He's ahead. While others talk to fill silence, the Sigma speaks to deliver substance. He doesn't stretch words to appear engaged or repeat phrases to sound polite. Once the meaning is complete in his mind, the words become unnecessary. So he stops. Mid-thought. Like a film that fades to black just before the ending. To some, it feels cold. To others, intimidating. But to the Sigma, it's just efficiency. Why waste energy explaining what no longer needs to be said? In psychology, this is linked to cognitive compression, the mind's ability to skip redundant processing. While most people need words to clarify thoughts, the Sigma's brain operates on silent clarity. In group discussions, this behavior stands out. While others argue, over-explain, or circle around a point, he drops a few sharp words, stops mid-sentence, and leaves everyone wondering what he meant. Some think he's hiding something. Others assume he's disinterested. But in reality, he simply knows when a sentence has served its purpose. He doesn't need to say everything. Because in his mind, he already knows how it ends. Number 2, they ignore texts for days, then reply as if time never passed. In the age of constant notifications and instant replies, silence has become the ultimate rebellion. For most people, an unanswered text triggers anxiety, questions, assumptions, even self-doubt. But for the Sigma male, that silence is sacred. It's not avoidance. It's autonomy. He doesn't respond out of social obligation. He responds when his mind is clear, when he chooses to. To the world, that looks cold, maybe even arrogant. But for the Sigma, it's simply alignment. He refuses to speak when his energy isn't genuine. Psychologists refer to this as temporal detachment, the ability to step outside of social time frames and operate on one's own internal rhythm. Most people are slaves to immediacy, afraid that delayed responses equal disinterest. But the Sigma? He knows connection isn't measured in timestamps. He'll see your message, process it, and then, vanish. Hours become days. Days turn into silence. You start to assume he's forgotten. And just when you've moved on, he reappears, calm, unbothered, replying as though time itself had been standing still. No apologies. No explanations. Just, "Hey, what's up?" And that's what confuses people the most, the effortless way he re-enters the conversation, untouched by guilt or urgency. You see, the Sigma's mind doesn't crave digital validation. He's not wired to respond to dopamine pings or unread message icons. He treats communication as intentional, not habitual. He won't text just to maintain appearances. Every word he sends must carry purpose. And this is what separates him from the rest. He values mental clarity over social conformity. In psychology, this connects to self-determination theory, where intrinsic motivation overrides external pressure. The Sigma doesn't react to expectation, he acts when it feels right within his own framework. So while others panic about being left on read, he's already deep in thought, investing his time where it truly matters. Because to a Sigma, communication is not about presence. It's about authenticity. He understands that silence itself speaks volumes. Number 3, they dive into deep conversations with strangers, then vanish forever. Most people guard their thoughts like locked rooms, afraid to be seen too deeply, too soon. But the Sigma male? He walks straight past small talk, into the unlit corners of the mind, and opens doors others didn't know existed. He'll meet a stranger, in a cafe, a bookstore, an airport lounge, and within minutes, the conversation shifts from the weather to the soul. One moment, they're exchanging names. The next, he's unraveling questions about purpose, mortality, or the silent weight of human loneliness. No warm-up. No filter. Just pure, raw truth. To psychologists, this is a sign of high introspective intelligence, the drive to connect through meaning rather than social exchange. To everyone else, it's disorienting. Because when you speak with a Sigma, it feels like he sees you. Not just your face, but your fears, your contradictions, your hidden longing to be understood. And then, just as suddenly as he appeared, he disappears. No contact. No follow-up. No attempt to turn that moment into something more. To most people, this feels confusing, even hurtful. They replay the conversation, wondering if it meant nothing to him. But the truth is, to the Sigma, it meant everything. He just doesn't cling to meaning. Psychologists describe this as detached empathy, the ability to connect deeply, yet release completely. The Sigma doesn't seek ownership of the moment. He seeks experience. He believes some connections exist purely for the instant of understanding, not for a lifetime of maintenance. To him, a profound conversation is like art, complete when it ends. He doesn't need to follow up or stay in touch, because the exchange itself was the masterpiece. This detachment confuses people because they equate emotional depth with emotional attachment. But for the Sigma, they are not the same. He can care intensely in a moment and still walk away in peace, because he doesn't confuse connection with possession. He treats every encounter as a mirror. Each person he meets reflects something he's meant to learn, and once that lesson is absorbed, he moves on, not out of coldness, but out of evolution. To the untrained eye, it looks like disinterest. But in truth, it's the mind of someone who has accepted one of life's hardest truths: not every meaningful moment needs to last forever. Number 4, they vanish from social media, right after posting something that feels like a message from another world. In an era obsessed with visibility, the Sigma male chooses the rarest form of power: silence. He'll appear online out of nowhere, post something cryptic, profound, maybe even unsettling, and then vanish without a trace. No explanations. No engagement. No replies. And yet, the world can't stop thinking about that one post. People overanalyze it, wondering if it's poetry, a confession, or a coded reflection of something deeper. But the Sigma? He's already gone, detached, watching quietly from the shadows, unconcerned with how his words are interpreted. Psychologists call this behavior a manifestation of low social dependency, a state where a person's self-concept isn't tied to external feedback. For the Sigma, validation is irrelevant. He doesn't measure meaning through likes, comments, or followers. To him, social media isn't a stage, it's a canvas. And when he posts, he paints something raw, then walks away before the applause even starts. Most people live in a digital echo chamber, feeding off responses, chasing the next dopamine hit of attention. But the Sigma operates outside that loop. He doesn't seek to be understood, he seeks to express, and expression doesn't need an audience to be real. That's what makes him so enigmatic. He could drop a single sentence, "Not all who wander are lost, but most who stay are." And while others spend hours decoding it, he's out in the world, detached from the noise, lost in his own quiet revolution. This vanishing act isn't about mystery for the sake of attention. It's about protecting mental sovereignty. He refuses to be consumed by the endless chatter of digital life. Psychologists link this to cognitive minimalism, the deliberate reduction of mental clutter to maintain clarity of thought. He posts when something burns in his mind, when the words feel necessary. Then, he retreats, not to hide, but to breathe. He doesn't chase relevance, because relevance fades. He chases truth, and truth never needs to trend. Those who know him in real life find this behavior equally frustrating. They'll text him, saying, "Hey, man, saw your post, what's going on?" And they'll be met with silence, or maybe a single reply days later, "Just thinking." That's the Sigma's paradox. He's both present and absent. Seen and unseen. A whisper in the digital storm, here for a moment, then gone, leaving behind only questions. Because while everyone else is busy trying to be noticed, the Sigma already knows. The loudest power in this world is the one that doesn't need to be heard. Number 5, they don't react to insults, they observe, analyze, and file it away. When someone tries to insult a Sigma, the room feels off. Because they expect a reaction, anger, defense, confrontation, yet what they get is silence. No raised voice. No emotional spike. Just that piercing, unreadable stare that seems to say, "I see more than you think." To the Sigma, insults are data, not damage. He doesn't take words at face value, he studies them, like clues revealing the speaker's insecurities. While others hear offense, he hears information. Psychologists call this emotional detachment with cognitive control, the ability to separate feeling from analysis in real time. It's not suppression, it's mastery. Because when you stop reacting, you start understanding. Most people insult out of insecurity, an unconscious attempt to project weakness onto others. But the Sigma recognizes this pattern instantly. He sees the fear beneath the aggression, the fragility beneath the noise. And so, instead of engaging, he simply records it, mentally noting who just revealed their true nature. That's the difference between power and ego. Ego wants to fight. Power doesn't need to. And make no mistake, his silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. He understands that arguments often serve the attacker, not the attacked. By staying silent, he denies them emotional fuel, leaving them frustrated, exposed, and uncertain. This calm response unnerves people. They can't read him. They throw insults like stones, expecting impact, but he doesn't even flinch. He just watches, his expression unreadable, as if he's already 10 steps ahead in thought. Inside his mind, he's not angry, he's profiling. Every word, every tone, every motive, stored, cataloged, understood. Because while others speak to be heard, he listens to know. In psychology, this is linked to metacognition, awareness of one's own thought processes while simultaneously analyzing another's. It's rare, and it's powerful. It allows the Sigma to rise above chaos, to see the architecture of conflict rather than drown in it. He doesn't let others pull him into emotional warfare, because he knows, when you argue with a fool, you become one. When you stay silent, you expose them. So, while others waste energy defending themselves, the Sigma saves his for creation, growth, and movement. He knows truth doesn't need to be proven, only lived. And that's what terrifies people most about him. He can destroy your ego without saying a word. Because the moment you insult him and he stays calm, you realize the power you thought you had was never yours to begin with. Number 6, they disappear without warning, not to escape others, but to return to themselves. One day, he's there, steady, engaged, mysterious but present. And the next, he's gone. No text. No explanation. No closure. Just silence. To most, that silence feels like rejection. But to the Sigma, it's recalibration. He doesn't vanish to punish anyone, he vanishes to preserve himself. In a world that constantly demands interaction, performance, and availability, his absence is an act of rebellion. Because while others recharge through people, the Sigma recharges through isolation. Psychologists call this strategic withdrawal, a conscious retreat into solitude for emotional and mental restoration. It's not loneliness. It's alignment. It's where he audits his mind, cleans out his emotions, and rebuilds his focus. When he disappears, he's not lost, he's filtering noise. He's asking himself questions most people avoid. Am I still on the path that feels true? Am I acting from clarity or reaction? Am I living in purpose, or drifting in distraction? He doesn't seek permission to vanish, because solitude, to him, isn't a luxury, it's survival. The world drains him with its small talk, its fakeness, its constant need for validation. So he steps away, not because he doesn't care, but because he cares too deeply. In those silent days, he rebuilds his energy in ritualistic ways, a long walk at night, a journal filled with chaotic thoughts, music that no one else understands, and conversations with himself that are brutally honest. This process is rooted in what psychologists term introverted restoration, where solitude isn't isolation but a return to authenticity. It's the quiet furnace where his discipline, vision, and insight are reforged. But here's the paradox, his disappearance creates fascination. People notice the absence. They wonder where he went. They start to miss the quiet presence they once overlooked. And when he finally re-emerges, he's sharper, calmer, his aura even more magnetic. He doesn't explain where he's been, because those who truly understand him, never ask. The Sigma's silence teaches a lesson few grasp. Not everyone disappears because they're broken. Some disappear because they're healing. Because they refuse to lose themselves while trying to be seen. So when a Sigma goes quiet, don't chase him. He's not gone, he's transforming. And when he returns, he'll speak less, but every word will carry the weight of a man who found himself again in the dark. Number 7, they walk alone, even when success invites company. When most people rise, they celebrate with others. They call friends, post achievements, and bask in collective praise. But the Sigma? He doesn't. He walks his victories in silence. No announcements. No validation. Just quiet progress behind closed doors. To him, success isn't a show, it's a state of mind. He doesn't crave applause, because he understands something most never will. The moment you start performing for others, you stop performing for yourself. Psychologists describe this as internal locus of control, the belief that true power comes from within, not from external recognition. The Sigma lives by that rule. He's guided by his own compass, not the cheers or criticism of the crowd. So when success finds him, he doesn't chase visibility, he chases clarity. He analyzes what worked, what failed, and where to go next. His victories are not endpoints, they're checkpoints, markers on a much longer, more private journey. That's why, when others gather around to celebrate, the Sigma often slips away. Not out of arrogance, but out of preference. He values peace over praise, solitude over spotlight. He knows that every celebration carries noise, distractions, expectations, comparisons. And he refuses to let those dilute his focus. There's a moment, always, where he's standing on a rooftop, or walking under streetlights at midnight, reflecting quietly on what he's built. The world sees achievement. He sees responsibility. The weight of what comes next. In psychology, this is linked to self-transcendent motivation, where one's drive evolves beyond ego and becomes about mastery, growth, and meaning. The Sigma's not chasing wealth or fame. He's chasing peace of mind, and that can't be found in the crowd. Even at the peak of success, he remains the lone wolf, not because he rejects others, but because solitude is where he stays aligned. He trusts few, because he's learned that attention attracts imitation, and imitation kills originality. He'd rather build in silence than be celebrated for something unfinished. He'd rather be underestimated than perform just to be seen. Because he knows, real power doesn't need validation, it simply exists. So when you see him walking alone, even at the height of his triumph, don't mistake it for loneliness. It's discipline. It's control. It's peace earned through self-mastery. Because for the Sigma, solitude isn't a void, it's a fortress. Number 8, they stay calm in chaos, because they mastered it within. When tension rises, and everyone around starts to unravel, the Sigma stands still. His breathing doesn't change. His eyes don't dart. It's as if the noise fades for him, as if he's watching the chaos from outside of time. That's because he's already fought the war most people are just discovering, the inner one. He's faced his own storms in solitude, battled self-doubt in silence, and walked through nights so long that panic no longer impresses him. So when life tests him, it's not new terrain, it's familiar ground. Psychologists call this emotional regulation through resilience conditioning, the ability to remain composed because one's nervous system has adapted to discomfort. In other words, the Sigma doesn't stay calm by accident. He's trained for it, not in gyms or seminars, but in solitude, through pain, loss, and reflection. While others panic over the uncontrollable, he focuses on what can be controlled, his breath, his thoughts, his response. He knows that control doesn't come from dominating others, it comes from not letting them dominate your inner state. And that's the true mark of a Sigma male, his mind is a fortress, not easily breached by chaos or manipulation. You'll see it in crisis, when everyone's talking, arguing, overreacting, he's silent, assessing. He's not emotionless, he's strategic. His calm is not apathy, it's calculation. He knows that the one who stays calm holds the advantage, because emotion clouds perception, and perception is everything. In psychology, this connects to metacognitive awareness, the ability to observe one's own emotional processes from a higher perspective. It's as if the Sigma steps outside himself, watching his thoughts move like pieces on a chessboard. He's learned this truth. When you master the mind, you master the moment. And when you master the moment, the world stops controlling you. That's why people misread him. They call him cold, distant, detached. But in reality, he's just learned to separate emotion from reaction. He feels deeply, but he refuses to let feeling dictate his behavior. That's power. Real power. Because while everyone else is reacting to life, he's responding to it. And that small difference, between reaction and response, is what makes him untouchable. He knows that chaos isn't an enemy, it's a mirror. It shows who panics, who pretends, and who truly understands. And the Sigma? He's already seen the storm within himself, so no storm outside can move him. Number 9, they love deeply, but their love hides in silence. To love a Sigma is to love mystery. You won't always hear the words. You won't always see the gestures, but you'll feel it, in the quiet ways that only a soul tuned to depth can notice. He doesn't say, "I love you," often. Not because he doesn't feel it, but because he believes words lose meaning when used too easily. For him, love isn't something you announce, it's something you embody. It lives in his consistency, his protection, his presence. Not in his promises. Psychologists call this restrained attachment, a pattern found in people who connect deeply but fear the chaos that emotional dependency can create. The Sigma knows that love, when uncontrolled, can consume identity. And identity is sacred to him. He guards his independence like oxygen, not because he's selfish, but because he knows that when he loses himself, he loses the very thing that makes his love real. He'll love you in ways that aren't loud, through actions others overlook. Fixing something quietly when it breaks. Listening without interrupting. Remembering small details you forgot you even mentioned. Standing beside you when the world disappears. But he will not smother you. He will not chase you. He will not perform affection for attention. That's the paradox. His love feels distant, yet it's pure. Because it comes with no agenda, no control, no need to possess. In psychology, this links to secure autonomous attachment, a state where a person can care deeply without collapsing into dependency. He doesn't need you to complete him, he wants you to grow beside him. He knows that love without space becomes suffocation, and attachment without independence becomes addiction. That's why his silence isn't absence, it's protection. He's protecting both your freedom and his own peace. He wants love that breathes, not love that binds. And yes, sometimes that makes him seem emotionally unavailable, but only to those who confuse noise with depth. Because while others say, "I love you," to be heard, he says it through his energy. Through his patience when you're breaking down. Through his loyalty when no one's watching. Through his restraint when anger could have spoken louder. The Sigma's love is quiet, but unwavering. He won't always tell you how he feels, but if you ever walk away, you'll feel what words could never express, that once, you were truly seen. Because when a Sigma male loves, he doesn't just connect to your presence, he connects to your essence. And that connection never truly dies, even when he walks away. Number 10, they move with purpose, as if following a path no one else can see. Watch a Sigma male long enough, and you'll notice something unusual. He rarely rushes, but he's never idle. His steps are deliberate, his decisions precise. It's as if he's following a map that no one else was given. He doesn't talk much about goals. He doesn't announce what he's building. But there's a quiet fire in his eyes, a certainty that he's walking towards something greater than comfort or approval. To most, it looks like detachment. But to the Sigma, it's alignment. Psychologists call this purpose-driven autonomy, the rare ability to self-direct one's life according to deeply personal meaning rather than external reward. It's the kind of mindset that transforms struggle into strategy and solitude into strength. While others seek validation, the Sigma male seeks direction. He's not asking, "Do they approve?" He's asking, "Does this feel true?" That's why he can walk away from stability, relationships, even opportunities, because if they don't align with his vision, he'd rather start over than settle. He understands something most people ignore. Peace without purpose is emptiness. And comfort without challenge is decay. He doesn't chase destiny through chaos or desperation. He listens for it. It whispers to him in quiet moments, in the rhythm of his breath during late-night work, in the silence after failure, in the pull he feels toward the unknown. It's not ambition that drives him. It's calling. There's a stillness to his journey, not because it's easy, but because he's already made peace with the difficulty. He expects resistance. He knows that every path worth walking demands solitude, misunderstanding, and sacrifice. That's why he rarely seeks encouragement. He's fueled by something internal, something sacred. An unexplainable faith in the unseen architecture of his own destiny. In psychology, this resonates with self-actualization, the highest level of human motivation, where a person becomes what they were meant to be, not what they were told to be. The Sigma lives there, in that space between purpose and peace. He's not trying to impress the world. He's trying to fulfill what he feels was written for him long before anyone believed in him. And that's why he walks alone. Not because he hates people, but because the road to destiny doesn't come with company. It comes with clarity. It comes with silence. It comes with the quiet knowing that you were born to move differently. So when you see a Sigma male, alone but unwavering, understand this. He's not lost. He's listening. Because destiny doesn't shout. It whispers, and only those comfortable in silence ever truly hear it. Number 11, they never try to impress, yet they naturally do. Watch a room full of people chasing attention. Notice the chatter, the posturing, the subtle attempts to be admired. And then notice the Sigma male. He's quiet. He doesn't seek validation. He doesn't brag. He doesn't perform. And yet, somehow, every eye gravitates toward him. This is the paradox. He impresses not through effort, but through presence. Psychologists might call this authentic charisma, a form of influence born not from manipulation, but from alignment with self. He's not trying to be liked. He's simply being. And in a world addicted to approval, authenticity stands out like a lighthouse in the fog. People mistake this for luck, or charm, or even arrogance. But the truth is simpler. The Sigma male doesn't compete. He doesn't measure himself against others. He doesn't play social games. He lives according to his own standards, and that alone makes him magnetic. It's the energy of a man who doesn't need anyone's permission to exist. The way he speaks, moves, and observes, it conveys mastery without a single word of boasting. Think about it, the world is full of people trying to be seen. The Sigma male. He's simply present. And presence, rare as it is irresistible. Even when ignored, he radiates value. Even when silent, he commands attention. And even when alone, he carries an aura that pulls others into his orbit. This is the quiet power of the Sigma male. Effortless influence. Invisible control. A magnetic force that operates without need, without explanation, without apology. It frustrates the crowd because they see effort as the currency of respect. He proves that alignment and self-sufficiency are the real wealth. In a world addicted to image, the Sigma's lack of effort is his signature. And that signature leaves a lasting impression, not because he wants it to, but because the world can't ignore what is genuine. Number 12, they wear the same clothes repeatedly, because life is too valuable to waste on trivial decisions. Observe Sigma male in a crowd. Notice the simplicity of his attire, often the same jacket, the same shoes, the same understated style. It might strike some as laziness. Others might call it indifference. But this is intentional. The Sigma male understands a profound truth: every choice carries energy. Every decision drains focus, even when it seems trivial. Clothing, status symbols, trends, they are noise. By minimizing unnecessary decisions, he preserves mental bandwidth for what truly matters: creation, thought, and mastery of his path. Psychologists refer to this as decision fatigue avoidance, the deliberate simplification of life to protect cognitive resources. Steve Jobs wore a black turtleneck. Mark Zuckerberg wears gray t-shirts. The Sigma follows this same principle, not for imitation, but for freedom. Freedom from social expectations. Freedom from the pressure to impress. Freedom to channel his energy where it truly counts. It's a reflection of his independence. He doesn't live for the approval of others. He doesn't curate an image to be liked or admired. He dresses to exist effectively, nothing more, nothing less. This approach frustrates those who measure people by appearances. But the Sigma doesn't need validation, he values efficiency over aesthetics, substance over style. And therein lies the lesson. When you remove the unnecessary noise, when you stop performing for the world, you reclaim yourself. You reclaim your time, your energy, your mind. The Sigma's wardrobe is a metaphor. A visible expression of an invisible philosophy. Simplicity, focus, and unshakable alignment with his inner purpose. He doesn't follow the crowd. He doesn't bend to expectation. He doesn't perform. He simply moves through life as he chooses, unbothered, unshaken, unstoppable. And when the world finally notices him, it isn't because of what he wore, or what he said, or how hard he tried. It's because he lives life by his own rules, and that is a presence no one can ignore. In conclusion, Sigma male is a man of contradictions. Silent yet magnetic, distant yet deeply loyal, unpredictable yet guided by purpose. He moves through life on his own terms, unshaken by chaos, unbound by expectation, unbothered by validation. The Sigma male teaches us a lesson most never learn. True power isn't in being noticed. True influence isn't in chasing. True freedom isn't in conformity. It's in knowing yourself. It's in mastering your mind. It's in walking your path, alone if necessary, with unshakable conviction. So when you see the world spinning out of control, or when you feel pressure to conform, perform, or please, remember the Sigma male. He is not just a man. He is a philosophy. A quiet force moving through life with clarity, strength, and purpose. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to start walking your own path, on your own terms. If this video resonated with you, consider subscribing to our channel for more content on the Sigma personality and other related topics. Don't forget to hit the like button and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching.